Hi guys, welcome back on the channel. Today is the third workshop from Blood and Crown rules, and we're going to see a charge attack rule, the defensive reaction, and hopefully we can have also the withdrawal rule. We can see it if the dice allow us to do it. So let's see what we have here. Here on the right hand side we have a unit of let's say Scottish or French pikemen or long spears. You've seen a showcase in the previous video. So here they are. You can see their attributes, the unit cards on your screen. There are 12, and they have the brace 2 special rule. We're going to talk about this. So these are the defenders. Let's say these are not the activated unit. And then we have a unit of English squires. They are 6 numbers, and they are the active unit. They are the unit that is going to charge them. Obviously not a good idea to charge pikemen and long spears, but that's the reason we're going to see how it works. So we have the card drawn for the English, and we see it's the Jack of Diamonds. And the Jack of Diamonds to a unit of squires that is inexperienced gives 2 actions. So the English have 2 actions with the Jack of Diamonds, and let's see the actions here. You see them in the top of your table, of your screen on the left, in front of the coat of arms of the English, and here the 2 dice. So let's see the distance. The English are impetuous and they need to charge. They have 6, so the distance is actually 10. That means that the English have to spend both actions to charge, because, as we say, an attack is a separate action. So the only action can be repeated in activation is movement. So you can use 2 of your actions to move and reach the pikemen, but then you don't have any other actions remaining, and you won't be able to fight back unless you push yourself and you get fatigued, and that's not the best scenario. So we have a rule called charge attack. This rule can be used from non-shaken units or units that are not, of course, in combat. And basically what this is that the second move is a charge attack move. So with 1 action you perform, let's say, 2 action. With 1 action is 2 actions. Is the charge, the movement, reaching your opponent, and the attack. So we're going to use the charge attack rules for our second move. So our first move is 6 inches, and our second move will be a charge attack move. Oops, sorry. And the English will be able to fight because they're going to do 2 actions in 1. So the English charge. Before the charge attack, we need to see if the defensive unit has a defensive reaction. That could be longbowmen who have a defensive reaction, shooting. Could be pikemen who, if they're braced, they have a defensive reaction. So let's consider that the pikes were braced from the previous round. The pikes have braced. Let me go back so you can see the card. The pikes have the brace 2 rule. And basically they need 2 actions to brace themselves. They cannot move. If they become shaking, they're losing the brace. And currently they have all these prerequisites to be braced. So let's say in the previous round, the pikes were braced. So before the attack takes place, we have to take the defensive reaction of the Scottish French pikemen. Now, the pikes will fight without getting a fatigue. When you are doing a defensive reaction, when it's not your activation, we're going to see it in a simple melee. You need to give yourself a fatigue point in order to fight back, to push yourself to fight back, because the momentum is your opponent. But when a unit has a defensive reaction and is braced, like the pikemen who are braced, they don't need to give a fatigue point to the unit in order to fight back. If the pikes were not braced, they would have required a fatigue point to fight back in this charge attack move. Other units who don't have the ability of a defensive reaction cannot fight back in a charge attack move from mounted, but we'll discuss this in another video. So because the pikes are braced, they will fight back without requiring to give a fatigue point to the unit. So as you can see from the unit card, the pikes need a 7 to hit. They have a 7 skill number, and they're 12, so they have 12 dice. So we have here 12 dice, and they will fight. They need a +7 to hit the English squires, and let's see, it's quite an interesting roll. So we have a 9 and a 0 and a 6 and another 6, and that is really good, and a 0 and a 6 and a 7, and that's a disaster, and a 6 and an 8. 2 5s that don't count here, we'll move, and a 7. And this is a disastrous fight against the English squires, who impetuously and stupidly they attacked the long spearmen pikes of the French or the Scottish. Now, as you can see in your unit card, the squires have a defense value of 6, a defense skill number of 6. So they will roll against this 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10 hits. But the mounted knights have full plate armor, full harness, they're very well armed, so they have the defense 1 rule. Defense 1 means that they can add 1 die extra to defend these hits. Obviously this doesn't seem very helpful, considering that you receive 10 hits, but again, you know, it's not, it's an added bonus. So we add another dice, so 10 dice, 11 dice to defend 10 hits. So let's roll and see the the English squires, who impetuously charge the pikes, require a 6, and we have a 9, so they defend this, and a 7, and a 6, and a 0, and a 0, and oh, that's quite good for the English, and a 0, and another 6, and another 6, and another 7. So it's not 2 hits because we have 1 extra die, the black die, that defended. So basically, it's 1 hit. 1 hit against the English. You see, even this extra dice of the defense 1 helped. Otherwise, it would have been 2 hits. So the English, for the result test, they would have rolled 3 dice. So quite good, not bad. And this defense 1 worked a little bit. So the English have to take a result test now. They have only 1 hit, so let's put it here. Let's put the casualty marker, and they have 1 hit. And now the English have to roll for a resolve. Their resolve is a 5, so they need to roll a 5. So they will roll 2 dice, 1 for the hit and 1 for the resolve die. And both fail. Both fail, and the English get 2 fatigue points. Now, if it was a critical battle for me, and it would be a critical battle, I would use one of my favors to reroll it. But let's go and see how this will work. So 2 fatigue points for the English. So we get our skull, our typical fatigue point, and the English have 2 fatigue points. That means they become fatigued, but they have a -1 starting action to the next activation. So now that the French fought back, they didn't push the English because they didn't shake them. The English now, we continue the attack. Now the English have, as heavy cavalry squires, have the heavy cavalry rule. That has 2 characteristics. One is that its opponents cannot fight back during hand-to-hand combat, unless they have a defensive reaction, obviously. So if you had a man-at-arms here, or any normal infantry that doesn't have a defensive reaction, they wouldn't be able to fight back. And the second is that they get the target suffers a -2 penalty to their target number of melee saves. So the guys, the pikes here, who have a 7 defense die, they will need a 9, and that's quite devastating. So let's see. So now the English will fight back. They have 1 casualty, so they need 5 dice. So 5 dice they will roll 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and in order to hit, they need a +6. So let's see. So they fail this and they fail the second one, but they have 2 possible hits that the French Scottish have to defend. As we said, heavy cavalry rule, a -2, or let's say -2 penalty is applied to the target number of melee saves, and that means that the French, the Scottish, who are pikes and have a 7 defense, they have to roll a 9. So the French will roll a 9 in order to see if they become fatigued. So they roll a 9, very good for the Scottish or the French or whatever, and an 8. So they fail in the second round, so they get 1 fatigue point. The fatigue for the Scottish pikes, let's say. So now our action is finished. We don't have anything else. We didn't have any shaken units that they have to fall back, so we're currently in this situation, and we continue our other activation until we reach again for the activation. Let's say again it comes to the English. If it goes to the French would fight back the English. But I want to show you how the withdrawal rule works, the fallback rule works, so you can see. So let's say the English, let's go back a bit. So let's say the English draw a 5 of diamonds. A 5 of diamonds in an untrained unit is 2 actions. So they get 2 actions. Let's see them here. So they get 2 actions. You can see them on the top of the table. And let's see what the English will do. Now the English want to withdraw. In order to withdraw, you need to give a fatigue point, 1 fatigue point for every unit you're fighting against. So if the English mounted knights, squires, were fighting 2 units, they will need 2 fatigue points in order to withdraw. So 1 fatigue point for every unit you are trying to withdraw from. Here, the English are fighting 1 unit, the pikemen, so they want 1 fatigue, but they're already double fatigued. If you get another fatigue point, they will become shaken and they cannot perform this action. So my first activation, removing 1 die, let me remove the card, would be to roll to rally the English and try to remove or reduce the fatigue points. So let's see. So the English have 2 fatigue points. They want to reduce at least 1, and their resolve is a 5. So we roll a resolve test. We need a 5 and above. And he rolls a 10 and a 2. That's quite good because 1 fatigue point will be removed. The other one failed, so the English will become just fatigued. So let's go and see on the table now what this will look like and what the English can do. So the English remove 1 fatigue point, so they're just fatigued. Now the English can fall back, can disengage 1 move, that means 6 inches. They will get another fatigue point that they have to get in order to disengage, so they will become 2. As I said, 1 fatigue point for every enemy unit you're fighting, but currently the English are fighting with 1. So they will fall back 6 inches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They will disengage. They don't have any other activation, and they will fall back. Not a very successful attack for the English fighting the pikemen. Wrong decision. The pikemen just got fatigued. They had no hits, no casualties. The English got 1 casualty but are double fatigued again. They disengaged. Probably they will avoid fighting pikemen or spearmen again. So this is the mechanics of charge attack, melee, defensive reaction, and disengage or fall back. It's a very, very nice mechanics. In the next video, I'm going to show you how this works with mounted against foot that doesn't have defensive reaction, and then we're going to do also the fight back of the unit. Anyway, guys, I hope you're enjoying the series. Let me know if you need any clarifications and any specific rules that you want me to showcase. Having the advantage of been playing testing the game for quite some time and asking the author quite a lot of questions, and I have a good understanding of the mechanics of the rules. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Have a great weekend, and bye-bye.